Alright, girls and boys and girls, we got to do something. We got to do some stuff I told you not to do. So here's the problem. Alright, I put this one together. We got our black wire lead coming out of it. Pretty nice. Trucks are nice. Put a little grease in there. She's ready to roll. Look at our middle axle. Look at that. Look at that nice play in there. That sucker's going to stay on the track. So that's what we like to see. Okay, and I got our wire soldered to the side here. Here's the problem. And here's where we got to break a couple of rules. Alright, we got to solder onto, this thing goes together like this, right? And it sits in here, just like that. So we need to go down to the black wire side, get a black wire on here, which will go directly to our black wire lead, which will be this front thing here. Now, here's the thing. This thing sits on here. We're going to come up right across from this post. We're going to come up from right here. So here's the problem. This is steel. Steel is really hard to solder to. If you don't know that already, we're going to have to break rule number 1. And rule number 1 was not to use, do not use this one with the brass thing. We're going to have to use this. And I'll tell you why. We need to come up with a wire right here. We got to get down to bare metal. So this is the way you do it. I don't want you to be messing around with this thing on anything else, but we got to do it this time. We need some bare metal right here. There we go. We are down to bare metal now. Next thing. The next thing we got to do is we are going to have to, which screwdriver did I use for this now? Okay. To get solder on there, we can't use this. It doesn't have the power. So, and the other thing is, we cannot use rosin soldering flux. It will not work on this. So we've got to bust out the acid paste. Now, acid paste is particularly bad in the fact that wherever you use it, you're going to get rust. It's going to rust fearsomely because it's acid. But when you run into a problem, and some people have run into this but not being able to solder rail joiners to certain rail, that's the true steel rail. True steel rail, you got to use acid paste. You use acid paste on true steel rail, you'll solder it right away. So we're going to put the acid on. Then we need to use this guy, the big chopper. This is the 230 watt Radio Shack big soldering gun. We're going to heat her up. Normally you don't use this because we can put enough heat on this thing to melt this whole thing into a little pile of plastic in a second. You need to have your handy wire brush as this sucker gets full of carbon on the end. You gotta push that off. It's already starting to get red hot. I don't know if you can see the red there. I mean, she's getting hot. It's gonna get hotter. Alright, we got our solder, we got our acid on there. We need to hit this sucker, get a bead on there, get off of it, and get it cooled down. There we go. Got it? Just like that. Alright, let's take this nut. Now you know why I've got this nut wall over here. See all that? Let me check this out. See, I use all those nuts for various things. They're different sizes and they're heavy nuts, and you go buy them by the pound. And I use them to cool things down, hold things, especially when I'm soldering. They make a great heat sink. And when you're gluing stuff, they're a nice little weight. Okay, we're good to go. Now, let's see how long a wire we need here. I got a long one for the back one, and it's going to be on the front here. So we don't need a real long wire. So let's get out this Strive Day wire that I got off Amazon. Love this stuff. This is the best wire that I've ever used. I wish I knew what it was called. All it says is Strive Day on it. And it's got 5 colors. I'm going to cut off a chunk here because I don't know how much I need. But here's the cool thing about this wire is when I want to strip it, I just pinch it and pull it, and I get, there it is, just like that. Alright, we want to get rid of this acid paste. We don't want that around no more. Now, we need to tin up the end of this by sticking it in the rosin. We'll put the tip in here, right? That's how we solder. We get our little pencil here. That's why I always make my workbenches out of particle board, because I don't care if they get burned on them. So now I got some rosin on there, touch it, get the end nice and tinned up. There we go. Now, I have these yellow screwdrivers I use for, so I always know that they're the ones I put the flux on, and I'll put a little dab of flux where we soldered right there. Okay, now I got a piece of flux there. Alright, now I'm going to get my wire. Now I've got a bead on here, nice smoothly. You don't want a big bubble on there, it'll get in the way of stuff. If I can heat that up just enough to get my wire in there, I can heat the solder, I can't heat the side frame though. This pencil will not put out enough to heat that. There we go, we're in. We got it. Sweet, huh? How do you like that? Now, you're saying, well, why the heck are we doing these wires anyways? You'll see. They'll give us just a tiny bit extra on our pickup. All right. Now, let's go ahead and do you guys' favorite thing. I know you love this. We're going to get out the high temp brake grease. This one can last me a lifetime. And where's my brake grease man? I think it's this guy right here, but I'm going to wipe him out just to be sure. Okay. Now remember what I said about these gears? They're all the same. Okay, except for the one, the idler. The idler's the one that contacts the worm. So put them in there. Get all my gears in there. Alright, got my gears in there. Let's check them. See if they work. Can you see? Can you see this? There we go. They're going around. Alright. Now, whoops. Drop one out. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the way that I do it. Not necessarily the way that you should do it. This is what has worked for me for a couple of decades. Very successful. I take a dab of this stuff on the end of a small screwdriver. I'll put a little bit on the idler. Just a little bit there. A little bit on there. A little bit in here. We're going to get just a tad bit more. You don't need much. That's probably too much. In fact, that is way too much. Let me spin them around a little bit. A little more. Alright. That's enough. Alright, now this grease will go around and it will spread onto the gears. And guess what else? It ain't going to go all over inside everything. It's going to stay on the gears where it's supposed to be. We don't want oil and crap all over the place. That's bad. Okay, now that we got this guy, where did our other guy go? Here he is. Let's stick him on there. Oh, well, you know what we didn't do? Let's take these gears out. We forgot to do our thing, didn't we? Well, let's do that. Remember what we forgot to do? What did we forget? We forgot to make our all-terrain truck. And we can't have that. We gotta do this. Alright. Let's go ahead and the dangerous guy. Let's put him aside. We don't want him around. Keep that guy out of here. Alright, let's get the fiberglass wheel. I like the fiberglass wheel. It doesn't come apart like those other little cutoff wheels. Those little cutoff wheels are good for if you're doing a lot of metal and some grinding and stuff. But these big ones, man, these are nice. and they're a good thing to have. I don't know, they're generic. You get those just about anywhere. Okay, so let's go ahead. Remember what we're going to do? We're going to take this guy right here. We're going to hit that guy and give ourselves a nice deep socket just on the bottom. Remember, it's a square nut in there, so you need to get them corners good. There we go. That's one. Hit this other one. These little secrets like this, you know, there have been books written with all kinds of stuff in them. This is one technique that I don't even know where I got it from. These are little things that get passed down from old timers, and it used to be that tuning up Athearn Blue Box was a big deal. I mean, there's books about that, all these different techniques. There used to be one where you'd take your new locomotive, you'd fill the gears full of a polishing toothpaste, like pearl drops, and you'd run your locomotive for an hour in one direction, an hour in the other direction, and that is how you'd break in these gears and polish them down, quiet your locomotive, then you'd take them out, clean them. And yeah, I have not found, I mean, I have done that before, and I will tell you that it does work. It's a really long process, and these gears are not as bad as the old, like that SD40 we did yesterday. I mean, those benefit a lot more from polishing gears like that. Get a little bit of grease in here. And we turn her around. We got that's good lube right there. Okay, that's decent. All right, now let's go ahead and put this together. Okay, now we're going to look at the straightness of these side frames. This one's bent out a little bit, so you just bend it in with your fingers, and you got to get the nuts in there straight, or it won't go in. Now, if you find that you have actually glued one of your wheels stuck, it's tacky glue. Just remember that, it will come unstuck. You can unstick it, but you should be good. If you did the way I showed you, should be good to go. Let's check this middle one. I suspect we've got a lot of nice up and down play on that. And that makes a huge difference. Here's the thing, if you are on an operating layout and you're working the yard, a nice 6-axle locomotive that's got good pickup and it's like all-terrain like this, you know what a difference that makes in you don't have so many stalls. Going over all those switches, you need as much pickup as you can get. That's why sometimes switching with 2 locomotives in the yard, it may seem clumsy, but it tends to work better. Okay, now look at this. Look at this right here. Look at that. See, we're still in contact with our gears, so we're still getting our power. But when we get to a rough spot, nice. Very nice. This is turning out really nice. Okay, let's put our clips back on. Oh yeah, snaps right in place. Really nice. Let's check her out. Oh yeah. Now that we didn't put any lube on the axles because we don't need to. This brake grease here will get down to the axles just enough, just what you need. You don't need much more. Very nice. Now we got our black wire on here. Extra pickup. There. What do you think? I'm thinking that this is pretty good. This is like really good. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next part. All right. So I'm looking this over, and what we were going to do is we're going to take all the black wires and go to the front post here. Then I thought, you know, that's kind of a lot of work, and there is a shorter way, but we got to make a part to do this, and it's cleaner if you do this. So what I have here is a little plastruct channel. I don't know how wide it is, but it's wide enough that it, you know, it would kind of fit nicely on top of this motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut a piece about as, maybe right around motor size. Okay. Now, one time when I was at Hobby Lobby, I found Create with Metal, a whole roll of copper. So I'm going to take my scissors here, copper cutting scissors. I'm going to cut myself a strip roughly the length of this piece I just cut off. Okay, that's about right. Alright. Alright, so now I got my copper. Let's measure them up here. Get them just a little shorter. Okay, that's pretty good. What we're going to do here is we're going to cut 2 strips off this piece of copper. We're going to make them kind of thin. Okay, there's one. Ooh, this one's kind of wide. This is probably wider than what I want. Let's see if I can trim it. Which I think I can possibly trim this. Just a bit here, we get it trimmed up, and there we go. Okay, got a nice thin piece here, right? Okay, that's one. Let's make another one. Gotta make it pretty thin. I'm gonna put on my glasses. We need to make this right. Alright, did it work? Looks like it's all curled up and stuff, but that's no big deal. Yes. Here's what we got. Here's what we're doing. We're now going to use some of my favorite stuff. If you make any fast track stuff, then you are familiar with this glue. You can get it at a lot of different places. You can get it, if you got fast tracks, you got some with it. You can also get it, I think I got this at Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere like that, or Menards. Yeah, shake it up. Okay, this is special stuff. Now, if you remember what this does, this is a contact cement. Okay, so let's flatten these guys out nice. This is a special kind of contact cement. It has a very unique property in that when you use it, and we're going to use it right now, we're going to glue these strips onto this piece of plastic that I cut. So I'm going to get some glue on there, both sides. I don't want these strips to touch each other, and I probably put way too much glue on there. Probably put way too much glue on there. Let's find an X-Acto knife. Here we go. It doesn't matter if the glue touches each other, that's fine. Let's just not have such a huge amount of Plyo-Bond on here. Plyo-Bond's pretty sticky stuff. Alright, now here's the deal. Normally with contact cement, as you know, you put it down and you let it dry a while, You let it set, and when it sets up, that's when you put your stuff down. If you've ever tried to do like vinyl countertops, a lot of people who don't know, they put their vinyl countertop down while the glue's still wet, and then they can't figure out why it never dries. You gotta let it set till it's almost dry to the touch. Then once you put something down on it and you roll it into place, it's down. It's set, it's stuck. Pliobond has one unique property that we're gonna use right now. It's still wet. So I'm gonna get my copper on here. There's one on this side. Some of you know where I'm going with this. The one on this side. Now this is a stand-in for our DCC, which we might do someday on this locomotive. So here's what we got. Now I take my soldering iron and hold it with the pliers. I heat it up and it bubbles. And you know what that does with Pliobond? It means it is set. It is glued in place. Pliobond can be heat cured instantly. So if you're familiar with fast tracks, you know how you get the rail glued directly to those PC board ties by doing this. You heat it up and it is set up. That means we can use it right now. There. Okay, now you guys know what we're going to do with this, right? We're going to take this motor here. We're going to put this on the top here. And we're going to connect our reds and our blacks to each side here. Now if we did this right, the red wire goes on the right side as the locomotive is going forward, the engineer side. That's what we call that. To keep this on here, I'm going to put a dab of goop on there, but I need to get a red wire from here to here. So let's get out a little piece of red. Snip off just a bit of red here. Okay. Let's get our flux. Alright. And let's tin up the end here. There's one. Now, we're going to put that red wire on the top here. We've already soldered to the top of this thing a bunch of times. So, we're going to solder, we're going to go right here to the middle. Little flux. Heat her up, make sure she's still good. Yep, still good. Okay, let's get our red wire. Alright, that's going to be our red wire. Okay, now. Okay, I washed these motor mounts with dish soap, so they're nice and rubbery again. If you remember, they were kind of greasy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make 3 spots on this on each side. So let's put some flux in our 3 spots we're going to use. Use an end in the middle. And on the other end. Okay. Now we need to tin a spot on here so that's easy to solder to. So just heat that up. And see, that's we put too much glue there. That's alright, we'll get our bead on there. There we go. That's one. Okay. That's 2. Now you know why we need 3 spots, right? There's 3. We need 3 spots on each side. 1 for each truck, front and rear, and 1 for each side of the motor. Okay. Now the motor's insulated. put the motor mounts on. And these motor mounts are still pretty good. They're nice and rubbery, so we're going to keep them. Go ahead and mount the motor in. Just push it in there. That's all you need. Now, here's the thing. Well, how are we going to keep this on top? This is the way we're going to do it. Goop. Use goop. Use shoe goo. Any of these rubbery kind of things, because you can change your mind. If you do it wrong, you can undo it. You can turn around. So we're just going to put a glob. I would say we'll do a glob right in the middle. See, just like that. Now, we can't put this motor direct. It's not going to be totally centered. It's going to be just offset just a tiny bit. And that's fine. And there we go. That is our, basically that's our stand-in for a decoder. And this is going to get us by in DC until we decide that we're going to put a decoder in here. So now we got black wire number 1, which we want to hook up right here. So let's trim this guy down a little bit. Now look at how flexible this strive day wire is. Love that. So easy to work with. Just gonna snip it right there, and then I'm gonna pinch off the end. Gonna get some flux, some rosin on it, and we're gonna use a screwdriver for that. Okay, I'm gonna tin it. We always want to tin our wires. Let's see. Okay, let's tin this. Now, it's easier to do this against the workbench like this. So we just snap her on there. Alright, that takes care of that one. And then we can put it on. A little bit of flux. Remember that where we put that acid on there? We're going to check later for rust. And then we're going to clean that off. Alright, let's get this guy in position 1 right here. Okay, there we go. That's one in there. Now we got this long motor lead. We don't need it that long. We're wasting a lot of wire here. We're going to go ahead and flip it. Pinch it. Tin it. And attach it nice and smooth. This is especially for all you guys who are not ready for DCC yet, but you need to get started practicing. This is how you do it. Making this stuff that we're doing right here, right now, all this homemade crap, this is harder than doing a DCC. Once you know the colors and the diagram, once you know the principles of it, doing something in DCC is really easy. One of these days here we're going to do DCC on a Tyco dual motor. That would be considered a fairly tricky operation, or an Athearn DD40 with dual motor. We got lots of those we're going to do. Let's get this guy in his spot. There we go. Alright, all the black wires are on. It's pretty nice, huh? What do you think about that? Now, let's get some red wire. We're going to need a little bit more red wire than that. You got anything on the bench here? Nope, we're going to take some right here. Alright. We're going to take one this long. We're going to take one this long. Okay, got our red wires. Let's go ahead and tin them. We'll pinch them. See that? That's so much easier than having to use the stripping tool every single time. Alright, let's get some flux. Flux each end here. Do them all at one time. Alright, now let's go ahead and tin these. Oh, that was hot. Okay. Alright. Ready. Which one's which? That one's that one. That one is that one. Okay. Flux. Wire. We got which one is the right one? Both of these seem to be pretty long. Okay, so we're going to go this one right here. I'm going to get him in a spot. That's a big bead of solder there that I wish I could get rid of, but it's fine for now. Now, let's go ahead and get this guy into his spot. There we go. Let's get this guy. Get him in his spot. I like my solder, it's real nice and neat. Let's get this last guy on here. Now these ones on these arms, I did a long time ago, so they were already ready to go. Okay, the last one is going to be this little red wire right here. And we're going to go ahead, snip him off. We're going to give him a pinch. Okay. And we're going to try to, this guy be hard to tin. So we're going to put a bunch of flux on him. See if we can tin him into position with the dang tweezers. Somebody said somewhere on one of the Facebook forums, if you're going to be good at this, get good tweezers and learn how to use them. And that is the truth. Okay, we got a lot of flux on there. We're just going to get him in this spot. Oh yeah, there we go. What do you think? Okay, that's pretty clean. And I think we should put him on the bench. Try him out, huh? I think he's ready to test. Let's get him up here and see what he does. Oh, we don't have him. We don't got him all locked down, but that's okay. Let's get him on here. Let's get him up here and see what he does. Let's see. We're going to find out right now if we made a bunch of mistakes. Yes, we did make one mistake. We don't have the couplings are not hooked up, so he ain't going to go nowhere. Ooh, but he is going to work. You hear that? Oh man, look at those flywheels in action. Yeah, all right. Very nice. Let me put the links on, and we'll try them again. Okay, we're about ready. I put the couplings back, and I want to show you one more thing. I'm going to take some more of this, my tiny screwdriver. I'm going to put a drop of oil onto the end of the screwdriver. Just pinhead. Now, remember when we talked about thrust washers? Well, these worm gears have thrust washers. So I don't want this oil to spread everywhere, so I want to put it on top of the nut and touch the thrust washer on both sides, and that is how you oil it. That's it. You don't need any more than that. This will spread out nicely, and you will be in good shape. Oops, our shoe goop is, our goop here is slipping. That's no problem. Since it's not conductive, we don't worry about it. So now, let's go ahead, put the covers back on, worm housings. I put just a tiny drop of grease on there. And we'll put the side frames on later. It's time to try it. It's time to find out if all of this work turned out into something. Alright, she's on the track. Let's see what she does. Oh, she goes in the right direction. I got the arrow pointing that way. That's where she goes. Oh, you're not on the track. Remember, when you do this with this floating axle, you got to make sure you get it on the track to start with. Looking pretty good. Alright, so test number 1. This is a number 6 switch. This is a number 4 switch. Let's go 6 to 4. Very nicely done. Let's get our goop on there. Okay, now let's go 4. We're going to do 4 to 4 with it. This is an Athearn SD40T-2 tunnel motor. It's a long locomotive, and we're now going to go on. Now we're going to go over 2 number 4 switches and see how she does. This is the roughest part of the track. We're going pretty slow here too. I haven't barely got the power up. She's chugging along nicely. Oh yeah, those flywheels are really going for it. Wow. Impressive what we have accomplished here. Very impressive. How about we put the side frames on? Okay. Let's see here. Let's make sure we do this the right way. This is the way the side frames go. So that's the way we got to put them on. And the side frames just go into these little sockets here. And you go ahead and just press those on there. Let's shut off this soldering pencil so it don't get burnt. Alright, let's go to the other side and just press them. Very nice. Hopefully we didn't press them too hard. Hopefully we didn't take our wheels out of alignment here by pressing too hard on these, which is a hazard. Oh, okay. You can't put them on upside down. Alright, now let's get our goop back on there. That goop will set up nicely later and it'll be nice and rubbery on there. So let's go ahead and put the top on. We can add, we have our mounts now for couplers, so we can add that. Let's see how she runs. I would have to guess we are going to be very impressed with this. I would have to guess we're going to be incredibly impressed with this. We get them on the track. On the track. Yes, we are. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, there it is. There is our tunnel motor snoot. Wow, and I don't, you may or may not be able to tell the difference, but it's tremendous difference in what we started with. It is amazing. Navigates those switches at slow speed. Stays on the track on number 4 switches. Yeah, nice and slow with them switches. Let's go to 4 to 4. Go nice and slow. Look at that, power's right through there. We are not applying a lot of power to this. There it is. That is our total rebuild of the SD40T-2. The snoot. We're going to have to get this guy up to the standard of this other one. It is now DCC ready. If we want to put DCC in there, we got all of our wires in place. We got our little substitute in there in the decoder spot, and we are ready to go. All right, well, that's it for this rebuild, and I hope to see you on the next one.